I'm a native Washingtonian. I have been fortunate enough to have experienced a lot of the ups and downs of Washington, D.C. D.C. is a wonderful place. I don't care where you are. All over this city, you'll find people who grew up here, who were born here, or even grew up here, lived here any period of time, really will tell you they love Washington, D.C.
This is my wedding invitation. This is a kind of overlay of the map where I could have everything, a rehearsal dinner, the wedding reception, my house, everything was all Capitol Hill, and everything that everybody went to existed a few hundred years ago. What makes Capitol Hill great is the people. It's not just the built environment.
I am a native Washingtonian. My family has been in Washington since 1905. I can trace back my great-grandfather buying property in Georgetown in 1920, 3 houses and a store. We attend Mount Zion United Methodist. It's a church that's 200 years old. It is the oldest Black Methodist church in the city. Some of the slave owners allowed their slaves to go to church, and we broke away from the Dumbarton when they asked the slaves and the freedmen to sit in the balcony. And that's how we formed the first Black church in Washington, D.C. At Wisconsin and at the store that we had, my aunt used to do hair in the upstairs, and my great-grandfather had a tailor shop and a shoe shine shop in the basement. But women who worked in houses of the rich people up Wisconsin Avenue would come down and transfer to go across town at O Street, Wisconsin and O. So she would catch the people who were going home, and she would do their hair on a Friday night before they went home. In the Heritage Trail and in all of the history that's documented, I don't know that we're capturing that so much of Georgetown was Black, or that, and as I said, we're very proud. We're getting ready in 2016 celebrate 200 years. We've held down that community in Georgetown. We've made a difference in Georgetown.
How many of you have seen a neighborhood heritage trail? Yes. How many of you have walked an entire trail in order? Oh, bless you. Bless you. At the time that Cultural Tourism DC was begun, we had 20 million visitors every year to the mall. And what did they do? They came to the mall and they bought some gifts at the tax-free stores at the Smithsonian, and they went home and they had no idea about the rest of us. Kathy Smith, who I know many of you in the room here know, started an organization called Cultural Tourism DC, and the purpose of it was to help our visitors get off the mall and into our neighborhoods.
My own grandparents purchased a house at LaJoy Park in 1913. My grandfather was a messenger in the government. The government enabled Black people in Washington especially to have a job. It might have been a fairly menial job, but they were able to get steady employment, but it was enough to have a regular paycheck and buy a house and send their kids to college.
I'm native Washingtonian. I'm impressed by the energy in the room, the presence. And as we speak on historical values and the preservation of, that really means nothing without investment in youth, vision, innovation.
One way to engage at least these types of questions is by having exactly these types of events. One of the things that we kept coming back to as a discussion topic was, what sort of people are going to show up to these events? And are they going to be asking the types of questions that you just did? But the fact is, you just did ask that question, and you did show up to this event. And so I think that creating this sort of platform for talking about these questions is one way that we can do that.